Yeah.
Yep.
So, do you still enjoy it?
Yes. Duh.
Duh.
It's very clear. Like I've been in the business now for 20 minutes.
You gotta say it. You gotta say it out loud.
Well, I'm of an age now that if I said it, you would know exactly how old I am. So I'm just gonna say I've been doing it for a while. Couple of minutes. And I guess the thing I always tell my students is that, and I have felt this many times, if I could do anything else, I would.
That's pretty good. I think that's the way it should be. If you're not doing something that you love and you have to do, then...
Well, this business is too hard to do as a cash. You can't, to be casual in this business it's
like it's...
that you can get lucky, but you can't make a career out of it.
Yeah,
unless this is what, well, because it's feast and famine unless you luck out. And even then it's still feast and famine. Because you look at actors that get typecast and
they're stuck.
Mm-hmm. And then we don't give them credit or we judge them the minute that they try to do something different. So,
which I never understood. Why would you judge somebody for growing? The same with bands.
But see, as a public, we're built to judge.
Yeah, we're very brutally
Always.
judge. Yeah.
And this business is it's a lot like professional sports for many reasons.
Mm-hmm. The
endurance that it requires, the wreck on your body for the most part is pretty similar.
Yeah.
But it's also the business and the career where everyone else in the world feels like they can armchair quarterback.
Oh yeah. Like I could do that. Like, no,
I didn't like their acting because when you've never studied it, you have no idea what their choices were or why they made their choices.
Yeah.
But I'm not slamming people for that because that is theater and art is subjective, whether it's movie, film, or television. I'm doing it to get a response out of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I can't. It's like when I told you that performance of Much Ado About Nothing was such a way back in 2004 that I did. Where I did not, we all knew that the production wasn't the best Much Ado About Nothing we'd ever been, and it was still good.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best. But one night my buddy and I were walking out of the theater, and because we usually got out before the rest of the audience could even get out of the theater, and we were walking down the street and there was a parking garage with an above level and then a ramp from the lower level. Yeah. And we were just walking down the sidewalk and the two of us were behind this group of really old people, pardon my ageism, but elderly, and they were walking and all of a sudden they were like, that was the best Much Ado About Nothing we've ever seen. And they walk in top part and then we keep walking and we were like, nice, they liked our show. Literally 2 steps later, this group of young people walks up from the ramp and goes, well, that was Much Ado About Nothing. And it was like, Chris and I went, well, okay, then our job is done. Because those 2 groups saw the exact same play. We just performed the exact same play for both of them. Half of them thought it was the best Much Ado About Nothing they'd ever seen, and the other half thought it was Much Ado About Nothing. So I can never know. You're gonna always have an opinion.
Yeah.
About what I do.
Always gonna be an opinion, and
which is why I normally don't hang out afterwards to hear your opinion. Because it doesn't matter to me. Like in a lot of ways.
You've done the work, you've done your best, there's nothing else to do.
Right, and I'm not gonna let your opinion change the next performance.
Right. No, it's a good point.
Because I worked with a company of 20 people and a director, and we all decided that was the show. And I can't let Deborah's opinion about my speech in Act 4, Scene 5 to all of a sudden change because Deborah didn't like what I was doing.
Screw Deborah.
But do you know what and that's the other reason I don't read reviews. Good and bad. Because if I have a moment that somebody says that they didn't like or didn't understand, the next time I show up on stage for that moment, instead of thinking about the play, I'm going to be thinking about that one critic who didn't like that one moment.
Right.
And then I'm going to second guess everything I did in that moment, instead of trusting that my director sent me on the right track. In the same way, if somebody really liked something that I did specifically, the next time I get to that moment on stage, I'm going to be like, well, I'm awesome at this moment. And then it's maybe not going to be as good as it was because now I'm aware of it. So I'll read reviews, but just when it's done.
After the fact.
When it's no longer, when I can enjoy your subjectivity and your opinion about it, where I'm not going to take it on stage with me.
Right.
Because but that may be a weakness in my acting in a way that for me as a coping mechanism, I can't. I know I will take you on stage. I just know. If I hear something good or bad, I'm not strong enough to cut you out. So if I hear it, I'm going to take it on stage with me.
So you're almost kind of like an emotional sponge.
Yeah, very much so.
Huh.
But that's, I mean, if we want to get into psychology, that's the reason I don't like going to airports.
Huh. No airport.
It's also why I don't like social functions, is because I walk into a room and I can feel what everybody's going through, and it is overwhelming.
I would imagine. Holy crap. That's like a super empathy.
It's super empathy is kind of
like almost detrimentally super.
That's right.
Like if you
it's
target
too much. If I target it and I'm one-on-one, I'm really good with you. If there are more people and there's any conflict or anything going on, I'm feeling and reading all of that all of the time. And I don't know, unless I have a character or I know my role in it and I know what my job is, I don't know how to function. Like airports where people are yelling at each other and they're all upset, and I know they're upset about stuff that can't be fixed, is very, very upsetting to me. I don't like it. Maybe it's because I spend all my time where people yell at me on stage, but at least I know it's controlled. If it ever got out of control, somebody's going to stop it.
Right.
Whereas in real life, it's the Wild West.
Yeah.
Unless there's a cop around. You know what I mean? And even then, I don't know if I trust the cop to get involved. Like if we want to, you never know anything anymore.
Man. Silly. Oh well, whatever. We're doing our thing. So that empathy thing, like, as a guy, let's see, as a guy, it was very much, empathy kind of bit me in the butt a lot. Do you find it biting you? Like being too empathetic to somebody means you're like vulnerable or exposed or something?
No. I don't see that as a weakness, except for the fact that it makes me not want to be in social environments. Like that's the only thing that I think it is detrimental.
Sensory.
But I've never been an extrovert. Like finally, I had a talk with my parents as an adult recently where it was like, they told me that they moved out of an entire house we were living in because I finally convinced them to let me have my room in the basement at 13, and I never came out. Like I set up a studio apartment. I've always been that. I've never been the person with like a bunch of friends. I've like had one or two. I've always been, and I think they expected me to grow out of it at some point. And finally, even as an adult, my mom's like, "So that is just the way you are." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm just an introvert. I may be an actor, but I'm an introvert. I'm not good at. I'm really good one-on-one, or one-on-two, or in front of a class, but otherwise, the only times that I feel like it could be a detriment, the empathy, is actually talking when I'm trying to explain people's points of view to other people that may not be as empathetic. I get called an apologist for people when I don't feel like I'm trying to apologize for them. I'm trying to get you to see where I think they could be coming from.
Yeah.
And I think that's a product of being an actor, is because my job is to always honor the character's story, whether I agree with them or not. So, and I know I've used this example with you before, but like if I'm playing Medea, not Tyler Perry's Medea, but the actual Greek Medea, who gets cheated on by her husband, and the only recourse that this woman in a snapped moment makes is to murder both of her children. I don't want to not play that role. I want to play that role someday. Do I actually want to kill children? No, obviously. But I have to figure out why she would make decisions that she would make and not judge her. As the character, it is not my job to judge her choices. It's to figure out why she thinks that those are the only options she has. Because there are so many people in our lives, in real life, and that's what makes theater so interesting, is the human experience. But there are so many times in real life where conflict will happen or something will happen and we will go, that person didn't make the choice I would make, but they were making the best choice they could make at the time. Or else they would have made a different choice. we all want to make the best choice for us at the time, whether that is what society deems to be the best choice or not, or law, or anything. Like that's not ours to decide. As an actor, we can only come from what is the best choice my character can make in this moment. And empathy leads me to curiosity, which is the thing I think I talk about a lot as being we talk about being brave, we talk about being bold, but those are always come in with a big choice, make a big choice. But I think too many actors now aren't curious enough to why. Why did I choose to say dinner instead of supper? Why did the playwright choose that word choice? Does it tell me anything about how I was raised? Someone that gets called to supper versus somebody that gets called to dinner. And I'm not saying it changes anything. I'm saying it's the moment of curiosity to even allow in the thought, well, why? You may not have an answer for it, but if you don't ever ask the question, then you're not ever finding the real thing. Because we were all raised, because that's the big, magic trick of acting, I guess, in some ways, is that as humans in real life, we have thoughts. Right now, I have a thought to talk. I inhale, I have an image in my head, and I don't actually do any of it like with purpose. It just happens because I know what I want to get across to you. As an actor, we're given a script. And it's almost like being given a treasure map, and then you've got to figure out what does all of this mean and where is it leading me to. Whereas humans, we do that automatically and we could write it down.